So here's a video that I wasn't expecting to make. This is my review of 1917. So this is a war film that takes place during World War I, and it's about these two soldiers who have to deliver a message across the battlefield to try and stop an attack which they know is leading into a trap. And it's designed to all look like it's in one continuous take by director Sam Mendes. So that's the base summary. This did technically come out in 2019. That's when the early showing started. But since this movie's, like, all of its wide releases started in 2020, when it comes to any future rankings, I'm going to include it in 2020 lists. So, anyway, to the review. So, I do not have a lot of bad things to say about this movie. Probably my only real complaints would be that sometimes the plot was a little difficult to follow. That may be more on me than the film. And then that's really it. Of course, some of the best parts of the movie are the cinematography and the directing is absolutely amazing. They do a great job of making the film appear in one continuous break. There are little to no cuts, and even the few cuts that are there are just there to service the story. They only benefit the story. And it's great kind of seeing this whole thing from the perspective of one or two characters. And also, there are amazing shots in this movie. It does a great job, like, kind of showing the horrors of war from the perspective of these people, of just following kind of the perspective of this one person throughout battles and trenches and, like, getting shot at. It really is an experience that I'd recommend anyone watch on a big screen, unless, of course, they're, a little kid. But other things I like about this movie, I like the characters. There weren't a lot. Most of them were gone pretty quick, but there was this one guy who followed out throughout the entire story. He was in every single scene. There was also another man who was in most of the story. But the main character, the Colonel, I don't know a lot of these characters' names. He does a great job as kind of the bland soldier, but like the soldier that you can project anyone onto. He does a great job as that. But then he also does have a bit of a personality. With all the characters, you do a great job of telling kind of who's the optimist and who's the pessimist. I love the dynamics between the two main protagonists through the first bit of the movie. Of course, I love that they kind of reveal what the character's, like, home life is like, not throughout, like, big bits of, oh, by the way, this is what my home life is like. It's just kind of mentioned in passing conversation. I gotta get kind of like, oh, I gotta get back to my family, like, in a normal conversation. It's not a film that really has a message. It's more trying to show you things than tell you things. And it really does show the gruesomeness of war. There are many scenes that are just kind of, they're hard to watch, they're hard to look at, and they're hard to know that the character has to experience these things. The movie's surprisingly emotional. There are a lot of sad moments. The music is by Thomas Newman is absolutely amazing. Does a great job kind of with the tension and the awe and kind of the urgency of some scenes. Of course, this movie does a great job with tension in almost all of its scenes. There are a lot of shots that I just thought were absolutely amazing. I like all the characters. And it was just a thoroughly enjoyable movie with that. I'm someone who doesn't like a lot of cuts or shaking when it comes to camera quality in movies, and this movie is just very smooth. It's easy to watch. And it's not like it's some fun, enjoyable movie. It is really dramatic and it is really sad, but you grow to like the characters, and the tension kind of keeps you hooked into the movie. Sam Mendes did a great job. I basically like everything about this film, except, of course, the plot is sometimes hard to figure out, but, that was probably more on me than the movie. Overall, I would honestly say this is definitely one of the best war movies I've ever seen. The best movie of the year that I've seen so far, which isn't that big of a stretch considering the only other movie I've seen is a rewatch of Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, I would give this film a 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it, and I don't really have any issues with it, just very high positive. So yeah, that's my review of 1917.